I answered before I hung up, I guess.
How about now?
It's still got offline.
Give it a second. Hit refresh or whatever.
Whoop. Some good things are happening. There we go.
Yes?
Got it? Can you hear me? Speaking? Can you hear me? Test? Test? Test?
Oh, yep, we're on. We're on.
Testing, you can hear me?
Yep. Yeah, there's a wicked delay. Yep,
Okay.
there's just a big delay.
Okay. I'm gonna turn this one on too, huh? July 15th town board meeting, she's getting that. This, is it okay if I overwrite that?
You won't override it, it starts a new one.
It does what?
It starts a new,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so that one's on. I just got a text message that says we're good, we're live. Call the town board meeting to order for July 22nd, 2020. Would everybody please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to approve the minutes, Jesse's put, we've already got copies of these, but she asked her again to put them in front of everybody. I've been through them. These are June 10th and June 17th, right, Jesse?
Mm-hmm.
So we need a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mike, second?
I'll second.
Second by John, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? None. Motion to pay the bills. Bills are here. I've been thrown, you've been thrown too?
I
No?
didn't look at them.
I know she's gonna wanna send these out.
Have you gone through them?
Yep.
We used to like take turns in the school. We just, I mean, if one person's gone through them all, we just take turns. I'm fine with that.
I'll make a motion that, we pay the bills. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Ron. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. Privilege of the floor. Now this lady's gonna call me. That had called. I told her to call back in a couple minutes, so if, whenever she calls back, we will, put her on, is that okay? What about the bids?
Oh,
We got more than one?
just one.
Just one. Wow. Wow.
I bet I know who it is.
Let's hope.
I'll bet it's for $3,000.
One bid. We have the right to accept or refuse, right?
Yeah, you do. But if it was properly noticed and everything, why would you? As long as it's over 3,000.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did any people come in and look for the maps or ask or anything like that?
No, nobody.
One bid, town board, town of Alexandria, we received it on 7/21 at 3 p.m. So it meets the specs and the guidelines that we advertised from that standpoint. Ronald Judith Reynolds residing at 21723 Linden Cove Road, Alex submitted a bid on approximately .087 acres of land located between the northwest boundary of State Route 12 and it is 1912 and the northwest highway boundary of Route 12 is ultimately appropriated by the people of the state of New York. Their bid is $3,362. Signed by both of them. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to accept so that we can discuss it.
Yep. Motion by Ronnie to accept,
And I'll second that.
second by John, discussion?
Our minimum was what,
3,000.
3,000?
So,
Qualified.
And our cost of, survey was 1,500.
Right. Yeah. Probably miscellaneous other stuff, but, I mean,
Yeah,
that's well exceeds that.
so what's left for us? Nothing, okay?
I mean, we gotta prepare a deed based on the surveyor's description,
Okay.
that's pretty easy.
I was gonna say, as far as closing costs and all that,
We're just gonna give a quick clean deed, it's not gonna be, it's not gonna entail that much.
so I've got a motion and a second to accept the bids. All those accept the bid for $3,362 from the Randalls, Ronald and Judith. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. Motion accepted. Motion to hire the part-time laborer, Jake Hamby. This is retroactive. We did a motion at last week's board meeting to hire Dustin Passage, and he never answered my phone calls for a day and a half. And so the Indeed deal that we were on sent us a bunch more of applications, and I called them. And this Jake Hamby, I had they gave me 3 references. And I called the references, and the references were all good. So one more to run.
We haven't done that yet, though.
Yep. And the references were all good. And so he started work at the transfer site on Saturday, and Byron said the kid is a great worker, and he doesn't let Byron do anything if you know, unless there's more customers there. That was pretty much it. So he's gonna work, he works UPS Monday through Thursdays. He's gonna work for us Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, 8 hours a day, $15 an hour. So
We'd already approved hiring a part-time laborer. Do we still need to, now we know who the person is, we need to do that? Or?
Yes, because you're the appointing authority, you appoint a person to a position.
we actually approved a different name,
Okay,
so we gotta,
I'll make
Go
that
ahead.
motion.
you'll make the motion to hire Jake Hamby. Need a second?
I'll
Mike?
second
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none.
This is 8 hours a day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right?
What's that?
8 hours a day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yep. Nicole and I talked with Byron about this too. We went through and we looked at the receipts at the transfer site, and we do see weeks that Friday is busier than one of the other days. And so Friday tends to be very busy too. So that's why we had decided to do it, because we had put it up in the air before 2 or 3 days, we said. So we're gonna do it Fridays. Byron's been working his butt off up there for a couple months, so.
Now, once this guy kind of figures the job out, Byron's gonna take advantage of him being there, and so you can take some time off?
Take time off.
Yeah.
We need to talk about that, because Byron's got a lot of vacation time.
We would hope he would.
It'd probably
He
be,
would, I mean,
what would probably be nice is if this guy worked there for, you know, till Labor Day, and then if we could get Byron to take some time off after Labor Day and have this guy cover for him.
yep, that's what, he figures the job out first, and
Depending on how Byron wants to take his time off, whether, you know, I would imagine you wanna take weeks off at a time. Or if you wanted to take days off, you know, 3-day weekends.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Number 3, Butterfield dock repairs. We got some issues with the Butterfield dock, absorbing water in the pontoons, in the tubes, I guess I gotta call them. And, I think I sent everybody here copies of the email and all the pictures today from Scott Knapp, who phoned the docks. And he's got a pretty good handle on the docks right now. He's put a bunch of flotation under all of them. If you saw the pictures, the docks look level, and they're 7 inches higher than they were. It's kind of a temporary fix. He's got some ideas, and he's looking into some other means to do a permanent fix. But we're really just trying to get through Labor Day weekend with this, fix, and then we may have to pull them out of the water to do another, to do a real fix. He also said, because I kinda complained about what it costs us to pull them out of the water, and he also said he'd take care of that, he'd work with us on that. So he has a different way to pull them out of the water than what we did. So if you read his email, I think you'll see he's very willing to, totally willing. He's saying that this is his problem, if there's a failure, and he's gonna take care of it.
That when the three of us met with him out there, he's definitely concerned.
Yeah.
It really bugs him that this is happening.
I mean, he calls me every day, since Monday, he's called me every day. I get text messages with pictures from the people that live right there, and I got text messages 2 or 3 times Saturday and 2 or 3 times Sunday, when people went out on the docks and the docks went down. So, he was right on it Monday morning, and he's been there every day. So, that's kind of the situation there, and I'll just keep you guys informed as we go. You can see the pictures he took and what he wrote us. He definitely is gonna stand behind his work and do what has to be done.
He told me he was very happy we're being calm about it too.
To be what?
We're calm about it, happy about that.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Number 4, parking trailers not attached to vehicles in Goose Bay. I guess that goes with the one I have down further. I think I know the answer to this, Bob, is that in order to ticket, to fine, and to tow vehicles, we have to enact a local law.
Yes. Yes.
And
Well, I don't know what you mean by and. I mean, if it's in a parking lot, what you talked about?
Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah. About how to go about it?
Yeah, how we can enforce our desire to not have them parked there.
Or do you want a total ban on parking, or it's okay for you to have a trailer there
Want to limit how
on the
much
weekend,
time.
or?
Want to limit how much time
48 hours.
they're there.
Well, they came out with that opinion that said you can't chalk tires anymore because that touches somebody's car, which is crazy. But, nonetheless, that was the ruling. So what they're doing in the city is they're just taking photographs at a time, with an iPhone or whatever type of phone you have, and then they can come back and say, oh, there it is, same car, different time, take a picture again, and then they can prove that they were there. So if you're going to do that, it's going to be 48 hours. You can adopt a local law that says that, but then you're going to tow somebody's trailer away? Did I understand?
I'm asking for advice.
Yeah.
I mean, do we just try to do a local law and have a time limit and then give them a ticket and then they pay a fine?
That's way better than towing away.
And then if you go to the step of towing away, I know from past experiences at the village that that's a whole other
It's a can of
liability and.
It's a can of worms. So if you're gonna ticket, then your local law has to cover from soup to nuts what you're gonna do, including what the fine is. And, if they're out of state people,
Yeah. And if we're gonna do the fine, can it be payable to the town clerk or the bookkeeper, or does everything have to go through the court system? This is the lady that wants to be in public session. Hello,
Hello?
you're on the air live, town of Alexandria.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yep. Your name is Wanda Lopez,
Yes, sir.
and where do you live?
I am a resident of Wellesley Island East.
Okay. And your concern is?
I am respectfully requesting for the town of Alexandria to reduce my property assessment.
Okay.
Due to the fact, as you all know probably, I'm pretty sure you all know, my water, it is not for human consumption. This water has been for non-human consumption for 10 years, if not more. The owner of the Wellesley Island Water Company has been trying to fix this problem. The Attorney General, New York State Attorney General, the New York State Department of Health has been involved with this. I have been living here for 9 years. This was never told to me. I cannot use the water for cooking. I cannot use the water for drinking. I don't even make my coffee with the water. I did not know how serious this situation is until I participated in a phone call last month with the Attorney General, the Department of Health, Mr. Ronald Sharp from the Wellesley Island Water Company, and other individuals. In this phone call, Mr. Sharp, the Department of Health, the local Department of Health, asked Mr. Sharp, are you going to provide the residents for any water, any portable water, any drinking water, anything? And he just laughed and said, haha, this is not, we don't have that. We're not going to do that. Mr. Sharp has been not doing the right thing. I don't think we're going to have any drinkable water for the next 10 years at the way we're going. I have family that come over. I get in the shower, I don't open my mouth. I have a water spigot outside, and I'm scared that somebody's going to pass by and say, I need a drink of water, and open it. If they get sick and they come and sue me. Because we have water not for human consumption. And I'm asking the town of Alexandria to reduce my property taxes assessment, my property tax. I would like the town to reduce it to no less than 50% of my current assessment.
The situation that you're talking about in relation to the property assessment is something that our assessor handles. And we'll forward your complaint to our assessor.
I already spoke with him.
Okay.
And he was the one who advised me to call in today.
Okay.
And speak with the town board.
Yep. We have our attorney here, and I'm gonna ask him what his thoughts are, or what we could possibly do. One thing that I'm aware of is that I've been to 2 meetings of the Wellesley Island Water Corp, I guess is what I think the name is. And they're looking at proposals to replace the water system and to find another source for the water. I think that they've been doing this for a long time. I think I was told they're under a consent order from the Department of Health for over 10 years. Why the Department of Health isn't doing more or doing something about that, I'm not sure, but it's been going on a long time. So I don't know if our attorney has any other advice or has any other input into this, but he's here in front of me. Do you have anything, Bob?
Well, the only methodology that I'm aware of that exists to lower your assessment is either through the assessor, and if you disagree, then you go to the Board of Assessment Review. And that only happens once a year.
They just finished it.
They just finished it, so, you know, you've got your taxable status date and all that stuff, and then you can appeal to the Board of Assessment Review, but there's no vehicle by which this body can change her assessment.
Can you hear him?
I kind of bits and pieces. The town of Alexandria knows about this. They knew about this. When I bought this property, how come this was the town, when I went into the town, my lawyer didn't know about this, I didn't know about this. The people that sold me the house didn't tell me anything. And this has been going on for 10 years, and the town of Alexandria knows about this.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that, except for the fact that I know in property purchases and sales, that often, part of the process that goes through in property purchases is water tests. I know in some, obviously that you have to ask for that, and the legal people involved have to make that part of the agreement. That's optional, that's not mandatory, right, Bob?
Well, unless the bank requires it. If you borrow money, many times the bank requires it,
Yeah.
Usually though, if you're in a municipal water, you just list that.
It is
That's
amazing.
that's right.
Assume that
It
it's
is amazing
not like a well.
that this has been going on for so long, and nobody has said anything, and I just realized last month on that phone call how serious this situation is.
Yeah.
I don't understand that the Attorney General is just giving this man more choices, more time. He was supposed to turn something in and meet with the board on December. He waited until everybody come back from the river because he did not see, he does not live here all year long. I do. He does not have the urgency that I have to fixing this water problem that we don't see any on site for any 10 years because this man has no, I have a sense, all of this gives me a sense of something is going on. I don't understand why the town is charging me for an assessment and I don't have the basic need of life, water to drink.
Isn't that a private corporation?
And water
Yes, it is.
districts,
It is,
So it's like a private company.
that's right,
the water districts that's a whole different animal.
right.
So why wouldn't it be their problem?
I mean, it's really the state and the Attorney General who are the only ones that can, I think, force anything here. Because as I said, I've been to a water meeting over there, and it was brought up about this consent order.
Well,
This consent order has gone on for a long
in the
time.
spring, you and I went to a meeting over there, and there were people there from the Attorney General's office.
Yes, yeah.
So
And
there is
it's
absolutely
a water
nothing that you
district,
can
that
do
isn't
for my
a town water
assessment.
district. It's a private,
Private.
completely
Bob,
private.
she's asking if there's anything that we can do for her assessment. The board that you're talking to right now has no vehicle, as he said, to do anything with the assessment.
No legal,
No legal action or course that we can take.
right, the
So who do
law,
I have to speak with, or how do I go about requesting for my assessment to be lowered due to the fact that I don't have the basic need of life, that is water?
she needs to, again, call the assessor and ask him what the timelines are for the Board of Assessment review. I'm afraid she's gonna learn that it's gonna be months from now, because it's only once a year.
In May.
Yeah, so,
March.
but, is it March? Yeah.
March first is the taxable status.
Taxable status date, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so, there's just, New York state law sets forth how a person can challenge his or her assessment, okay? It's not a town board that hears that. It's a special board that's set up to do nothing but review assessments.
Yeah.
And what she's talking about seems to make sense to me as a reasonable claim to make to the Board of Assessment Review as to why her assessment should be reduced. But that's up to the Board of Assessment Review. And, she'll have to make her case there when they next meet, which I believe won't be until next spring. Only once a year.
So you're talking about the town's,
The grievance board.
that meets in May.
That's correct.
They meet once a year in May.
Is there any possibility that, I can maybe send them a letter so they can do an exception to policy? Because this has been going on long enough,
It's
and, I
nothing
need
we
to do
can-
something now.
Is there something at the state level as far as, you're talking, Bob, about the, what'd you call them,
the Board of Assessment Review.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of policy, it's a matter of statute.
yeah,
They're only empowered to do things at certain times. Okay? We're all creatures of statute.
yeah,
We only exist because the state says we can exist. I'm gonna use the same word because I don't know another one. I don't know of any other vehicle by which she can achieve a reduction in her assessment, except, going to the assessor to see what he was willing to do at the next taxable status date, which is March 1st, and then learning from him when it is the Board of Assessment meets, and he should have a packet he can give her, I would think, on how to grieve your assessment to the Board of Assessment review. That's the only methodology I'm aware of for grieving your assessment.
How about people that bring action against, in relation to their assessment, and that we've had to defend ourselves, legal action, they actually sue?
Well, they first have to go to the Board of Assessment review.
Oh, that's right, they do.
They have
first
to follow all the administrative processes
Yeah.
first. Because otherwise, if you just sue, the answer is you haven't exercised your administrative remedies.
Yeah.
Okay, I called the assessor's office, and he just told me to call you guys. So
Yeah.
I guess I will be calling the assessors again and asking for a packet. How can I
Yeah.
do this? Because he was the one who told me to call you.
Yeah, that would be the best thing I would say, is to talk to him, and he can tell you the guidelines and the regulations and the dates that different things can be done.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for listening
Wait
to my.
a minute, what, Chester?
They were also online.
Yeah, we have all that information online too. Our town clerk just said on our website.
I will look that up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to me, and you guys stay safe and have a great night.
You too, thank you.
That's been going on for a long time over there.
Well, yeah, I mean, they tried to bring a water line down through, it was fought by the people along that water line.
Well, they tried to put a well in, the gravel pit over
That's right,
Westminster, and that got killed.
that's right.
But, the problem with it is that the demographics over there, the incomes are so high, they don't qualify for any kind of loan, so they have to pony up all the money.
Does she have a private well there? I mean,
I wonder if the water's contaminated, it must not be
Well,
contaminated.
the water tower's long since been shut down because of a leak like I said. They're pumping it straight from the river, and they have a rudimentary filtration system. And most of the year, pressure and everything's okay, but once summer comes along, we get more users. Some of the distant places, water pressure just is almost non-existent. I'm just saying, I'm just relating from the media I sat in on, they don't bill
Yeah, were you
necessarily
calling for the public?
per gallon.
Yes, were you calling for the public?
Everybody, each
section of the
individual
meeting?
home gets the same charge,
This is Brent
including the
Sweet.
golf course,
Yep.
who uses a ton of water.
It's not based on your usage?
Not really. It's
Are you calling for the town board
The
meeting?
rates are unbelievably low.
Okay.
And
Put you on
all,
speakerphone.
they all want them to stay.
Okay, go
low.
ahead.
They're lower than any of our town water districts.
Yes, I'd like to know a little bit about why the garbage prices have gone up in our area from $3 to $6 this year, and there apparently was no reason given why this occurred. The other thing I'm very interested in, with the water problem that we have out here on Wellesley Island, are you all going to reevaluate our appraisal situation?
I'll answer your first question first, as far as on the transfer site and the fees going from $2 a bag to $3 a bag on the 13 gallon and $3 a bag to $6 a bag on the up to 55 gallon. And there was a reason given at the time that we did this, and the reason was also given before we did this, because we were trying to consider and figure out what to do and how to handle the problem we had. And if you go to the town's website, you'll see on the town's website the financials for the transfer site for the last 3 years. And the transfer site has lost between $52,000 and $66,000 a year. If you go to the transfer site, you'll see that we really, for the last year or so, have only had 1 employee. We do have 2 employees on weekends now. So we have cut in every area that we can possibly cut. And we felt we had to raise the rate to the $6 for the large bag and the $3 for the small bag to get our revenue where we need it to. We're not trying to make a profit at the transfer site. We're trying to come as close as possible to break even. And the other part of that issue is that we've got 4,000 taxpayers in the town of Alexandria, and probably less than half of those taxpayers use the transfer site. So we've had taxpayers talk to us about the fact that it's not fair for those who do not use the transfer site to subsidize $66,000 of taxpayers' money to the transfer site, because that's what it loses per year, or for 1 year. That's our reasoning on the transfer site. If you had more questions or you wanna talk to me about it, I can talk to you about financials, I can talk to you about all kinds of,
Now,
things.
that's, what you're saying is very understandable about the transfer site. Now I understand it.
And we put,
I've only been a resident here for 3 years, and I'm a full year-round resident.
Yep.
I live on Wellesley Island, and I use your dump,
Okay,
and I take my garbage down there, I take my recyclables down there.
yep,
The other thing I did not like also is when you stop taking batteries. I don't know why you did that, but I can only tell you from experience, if you don't have someplace to dump your batteries, people are gonna throw them in your garbage.
yep, yeah, I understand what you're saying, and the reason, the situation with the batteries is the vendor that picks up our recyclables and our trash, they stopped taking batteries, and since then, we have tried to reach out to other people that, to see if they take batteries, and we haven't found anybody. We did find one possibility, and that's a Canadian company, and they're not allowed to come over the border right now. So that's
Okay.
that's kinda where we're at with that.
All right, that answers that question then, and, the other thing about, I don't know if you know about the water problem that exists out here on Wellesley Island.
We just had
I've
a,
watched it
we just had a conference.
escalated in the last 3 years. You did?
Yeah, we just had a call from
Oh, no, sorry.
we had a call from a lady on Wellesley Island by the name of Mrs. Lopez, and we were on the phone.
Right, I know Mrs. Lopez.
We were on the phone with
I know
her for 10 or 15 minutes trying to talk, talking to her about this problem, and she is going to get back a hold of our assessor and find out what the proper means are for her to go about
Okay.
trying to deal with that situation.
Okay. Also, I was curious also on the point of the, old, building across from the Price Chopper that the town was supposed to have purchased.
Yes,
Is that still in the process of being,
it's still in the
to
process.
be purchased?
It's still in the process.
Okay, good.
The seller is, trying to, take care of the details that we had in the purchase agreement, to meet all the requirements. That's kinda where we're at there.
I'm glad it is. I think that's a wise decision on your part to purchase that.
Appreciate that. We all think it's a very good, valuable piece of property.
Yeah, I thought that was a wise decision, and I think the town can do well by owning that. You know, when big things like that go bad, even out here, if our golf course ever goes bad, I hope something exists where the town will even look at purchasing the golf course out here.
Yep, okay,
Because you cannot do anything, you're gonna make money from it if you run it right, and you don't rape it.
yep,
That's the thing.
yep,
And so many of these people rape the system so badly, they make the cow, they milk the cow until the udders collapse. And when you do that, you're not gonna make anything from it. You gotta do gradual extraction and reinvestment.
Yes.
Cause it to grow and flourish.
yeah. Sir, what is
You answered my question.
what is your name, sir?
My name is Joseph Mazaris.
Okay,
Want me to spell that?
Yes, please.
yeah, please.
Shall I spell it?
Yes, please. Yep,
MESZAROS.
okay.
We
Yep.
moved here approximately 3 years ago from the state of Hawaii. I lived there for 13 years.
Okay,
So a lot of the things I see here on Wellesley Island, I was in operation with in Hawaii at the same time. So I understand some of the things that are happening and some of the things I don't.
okay. Well, if you have any other questions or
I'm getting acquainted with everything.
any other questions or concerns, feel free to give this number a call, okay?
Thank you. very much. I appreciate that, sir.
Okay.
You have a good evening now, and thank you for answering my questions.
Okay, sir, thank you. Yep, have a good evening.
You're back.
Where were we?
You wanted to know what you could do about your parking thing. Yeah, so this is all only about trailers, right? People leaving their trailers there and leaving them there for longer than a weekend.
Yeah,
I mean, so we've got the registration. I think it's gotta go through your courts. They're the
So-
ones who have access to look up who owns it. You know?
so what, local law process, timing and process is?
Okay, well, it's like any local law, it gets introduced, seconded, it has to be on your table for at least 7 days before you can vote on it. The local law can impose fines or whatever, and then separately from that, the local law won't say, but separately from that, you have to figure out the methodology, how you're gonna prove it was there, okay, because that's gonna be the enforcement person's problem. And then when they're issued a ticket, they're returnable to the Justice Court to enforce the town's local law number blank of 2020 or 2021, whatever.
Do you guys think we should go that route? Because if you're the thing I wanna add to this too, is that if we do decide to go that route, I think we should do a local law for the brush pit too.
Do both same time. I guess the question is, how do you, because I don't think we should tow them off and touch the thing.
No, I agree.
How do you go about disabling it so that, in other words, I know that on some trailers, you can buy a ball that goes up in with a lock and basically come pay your fine and we'll unlock it for you. But we don't want the cost of doing this to be more than what the fine is.
I think we go back to what Bob was saying, and that is that if, once you issue a ticket, and this happened in the village of Alex Bay back when I used to be on the board, is once you issue a ticket, and that ticket is tied to a license plate number, okay? That license plate number has got a record, a registration and an address and everything with it. So that means that the ticket will be connected to that address. And I know what we did in the village years ago is we had tickets that they didn't respond to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you take the next step through the courts and you send them a form letter that connects to the registration, that eventually connects to the driver's license and the scofflaw situation.
I guess I don't know how they work.
When people see that a ticket is possibly gonna affect the driver's license or whatever, we had a tremendous amount of fines down there that got collected because we sent these letters out saying what we were gonna do.
I think they can revoke the registration is what they do.
Right. Yeah.
Because they don't know who's driving the car and they don't know who left the trailer there. So they revoke the registration, so then they can't register their vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as there's some way to,
So in the village, when you're over there, who's the ones that did the monitoring and ticketing?
It was a court.
yeah, but who determined it'd been there over 48 hours thing?
Well, the deal in the village I'm talking about was parking tickets, okay? The deal for what we're talking about, I think somebody already gave us badges, right, John?
I'm just saying, like, the village has a police force.
Right.
We don't.
Right.
We what?
The village has a police force, the town does not.
Yeah.
So how does this get done?
Well, that brings me to Bob, is who can write the ticket?
Well, I think only a peace officer, now police officers by definition are peace officers, but not the other way around. Okay, so, I mean, as I sit here now, I don't know what qualifications you have to be a peace officer to write tickets for trailers in the town of Alexandria. But, I mean, I guess is they have to take an oath of office and a few other things. So, I mean, I gotta do a little homework on how do you establish a peace officer?
I mean, my thoughts are we do it amongst ourselves and Bob looks into it, find out if we
Right.
gotta take an oath of office or we gotta take it, whatever we gotta do, and we do it amongst ourselves, because I'm just worried about this cost going through the ceiling here, about having to hire an agency or a policeman or a part-time this or a part-time that to do it. So it really comes down to what he's gonna tell us that we.
Probably a sign that says, trailers left here longer than 48 hours will be subject, the registration will be subject to a fine and whatever.
Yeah.
Might help.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
We're not a trailer site. You know, we're.
no, it's not long-term storage.
So what do we got for signs there now?
What do we, we have a sign saying that, I sent a picture of it to you guys.
Is it there now?
Yeah, it's there, it's up. And it basically has the time limit of 48 hours and, what is the word, violators will be,
Prosecuted, probably.
I don't think it said prosecuted.
Find out.
I think it said violators will be,
But the sign hasn't taken care of the whole problem?
no. It has helped the problem, but, you know, and I felt it helped the problem quite a bit, but I got a couple calls last weekend on Sunday, and I went down there on Sunday to see what they were talking about, cause they said there was a complete traffic jam, and that you couldn't even go down the road, and that it was just, I mean, the call I got was like, wow, you know? So I went down there, and what the deal was, is there was 19 bass trucks and trailers of all these bass fishermen that are here this week. And their rigs are extremely long. They got 4-door trucks and big long trailers for 22-foot bass boats, and so they had just clogged up everything. And traffic was passing and everything was fine when I got there, but there was people backing in, backing out and doing things, and the road got clogged, and somebody complained because they couldn't get by for 5 minutes while somebody backed in to pick up a trailer or something.
Right.
So we'll ask Bob to look into these couple things, and
Yeah,
Just-
I mean, you're gonna have to identify in your local law which sites they are, you know, whether they're identified by paint on the ground or whatever. You know, for example, just a simple parking violation, the village has to designate where the no parking zones are. So people have to be able to be in a position to look up the code, not that anybody ever does, but when you get into technical arguments, so, well, how am I supposed to know you're not supposed to park there?
so is there anything wrong with us going down there now and putting a tag on a trailer and saying it's in violation of our parking regulations?
We don't have it.
We don't have any parking regulations.
We just have a sign that doesn't have anything to back it up,
Right.
so we need to get a,
Now, you could put a sticker on that says, we're gonna adopt a local law and start enforcing this, so you might wanna think about somewhere else to store your trailer. You could do that.
On that note too, Goose Bay Road, do we have signs out there along the road that says no parking?
I don't think so. I mean,
'Cause I
in
know
that area where that parking lot is,
I think there are signs that say no parking on.
yeah, there are in some places. I'm not sure if they're,
Because the reason why I say that, because the same, on Otter Street where I live, there are, a lot of them disappear with their signs out there. I'm pretty sure there's no local law that backs that up. Because there's no, so this is things, you know, if you're gonna do these things, you gotta follow through on what it means, you know?
Yeah, well, Jesse maintains a listing of all existing local laws, and you sent it to me, so we can look at that list and see, but I'll tell you, you're right.
Yeah, we'll have to look, I'm not 100% sure, I don't remember one.
well, we'll just keep looking into
Looking
this.
into
Well, the least we could do is leave little tags saying, you know, you've been here too long,
Yeah,
please help us out, move.
I wanna get some of the decals that you talked about.
good ones. Blaze orange,
I found them on the internet. Yellow.
the yellow's the easy ones, the orange ones are the ones that,
Yeah.
you know, razor
They
blade.
got all kinds of colors, so.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
This is it.
the, number 5 Goose Bay Ramp Ready project update.
Oh, the list of all the ones.
We had a conference call last week for probably an hour, hour and a half, with Rob Campany, myself, and the people from the State of New York Department of State, all the different agencies that are involved in this ready funding. Project for Goose Bay is moving along definitely very well. We're proposing to enlarge that parking area down there by 50% or no, 100% of the size it is now. Double the size is what we're proposing. Rob will have some final drawings in the next 10 days for that area, that he has to submit to the state. everything's looking good. The state asked us if we wanted to put more into the project, and we got given to them through this grant, and we pretty much said no, that we were, you know, the way Rob's worked it out, the $433,000 will cover everything that we wanna do with the ramp, the docks, and the parking lot. Those are the three main things.
And that's a 5%, right?
Yep. We still have no answer on where that's coming from.
And that's a reimbursement, do you?
Yep.
Gotta spend it first.
Yep.
Right.
Well, that's all I have on that. The next 6 and 7, we did, already talk about, you know, we got similar situation at the brush pit. This concrete blocks, Jamie have put the concrete blocks in place with the poles sticking up out of them. I was getting ready to order the signs the other day, and requested to get some more prices on those signs, and I did that yesterday. I've got one answer back to me this morning that said that they would get some price quotes to us next week, and I'm waiting for the other answer on the other side. Number 8, the Village of Alexandria Bay, the partnership with the solar digital sign. The village passed that at their meeting last week, and they want to partner with us and buy the sign, so we've agreed to pay for half of it, and the village will pay for half of it, and Nicole ordered the sign on Monday.
So the ones we have already, are they the same thing?
Yeah, well, we're changing a little bit with the solar deal because we've learned, we bought one that was non-solar. We bought the second one that was solar, and we liked the solar so much that we wanted to convert the one to solar, so we tried to do it through the company that we bought them from and just buy the solar kit. Well, the solar kit was $1,900. The sign was $2,900, the solar kit was $1,900, okay? So Jay Gaskin calls me on the phone, Jay and Jamie call me, and they say, why can't we go to, what is it, Watertown?
Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight.
And just get it.
Why can't we go to Harbor Freight and buy a solar panel kit and put it on and charge the batteries that are in there that way? And I said, makes sense to me. I said, what kind of money? He said, $90.
You have to think about that for a long time.
Yeah.
He said $90. So make a long story short, they went out there, they bought the solar panel kit, and they installed it on the trailer.
Great.
Done
How's it
deal.
work?
Huh?
Is it working?
Yeah. Done deal.
Are we gonna move these signs around the town? We get a lot of calls on that.
Yeah, well, I just got a call today, I'm trying to think of where was that one they wanted, but yeah, we're getting a lot of calls about that. This one sign that we're doing with the village, we committed to that sign would stay in the village. So that means we have 2 signs of our own to move around. But hopefully they could get this other one together quick and we can start.
Are we talking like maybe a week or 2 apiece?
I would
move it,
yeah.
move it.
Yeah.
All it does is make you worry you're driving too fast.
Yeah.
And it does work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good for reasonable people to kind of open their eyes somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah, then I can ask Bob the next question, I already know the answer to this, but can we put a camera on top of that sign, let it take a picture, then mail them a ticket?
No.
It's all about revenue, isn't it? Starting to sound like the state of New York.
It's starting to sound like Germany.
Okay, Streetscape Committee, Mike, you were there, right?
Yep.
We had our first meeting, and actually, the first meeting went very well, I thought, just because it was nice to have all these people there and have input and opinions. And what was really nice is the input and the opinions was all very similar for a change.
Great.
Everybody agreed that this one area where we were gonna spend a bunch of money and put a handicap sidewalk in to get to the bridge to go to Casino Island. It was this big, long deal that had to go around because you had to adhere to the degree of incline.
Well, yeah.
Okay, and I'm looking at this picture and I'm listening to everybody talk and I'm thinking, what are they gonna do when they get to Casino Island, or when they get to the bridge to Casino Island? Because if they go over that bridge, there's a ramp going down the other side of the bridge that'll never meet the specs.
Yeah.
And so, make a long story short, there was no answers for that, and that we pulled that out. And there's gonna be a sidewalk that, 5 foot wide long, that goes down the side of that road that goes to the beach. which is really heavily
Heavily
traveled,
traveled.
and everybody walks in the road right now.
Yep.
So, that was a very positive meeting, didn't you think?
Yep.
Yeah, and I think we got another one scheduled in.
Yep.
in a
The only
couple
drawback is because of the COVID, some of the folks couldn't be here and they had to do it, you know.
The state agency people are not allowed to go to meetings, they're all still working from home, so the DOS and those people were all via this system, which worked great. So. Milfoil treatment dates, the only date I have that we just confirmed is, next Tuesday, we're gonna treat Mud Lake. Goose Bay is gonna be the following week, but the date has not been set. This is a 100% grant deal that we've been working on for, actually, this is 3 years, it was a 2-year grant, but we got an extension last year because of high water. The harvester boat has been ordered, the deposit's paid, we're expecting delivery the end of July. Nicole's been trying to get a hold of them to see when, and she hasn't gotten an answer.
Has Mud Lake ever been treated before?
Yeah, it was treated originally 2 years ago when Goose Bay was treated.
How'd it work?
It worked good. The one thing that I have against this process is that when you treat these lakes in Goose Bay, the milfoil goes away in the areas that you treat, and also a lot of the areas around where you treat, because the prevailing winds and the water currents take your treatment and actually do a nice job of dispersing it, so it treats bigger areas. But the problem is this treatment is expensive, and it's a herbicide, it's a chemical, that a lot of people don't like. And, this grant was $600,000, I wanna say the herbicide we're gonna use for Mud Lake is $40,000 to $60,000 of herbicide this year. It's all grant money, it's not town money. This stuff starts to grow back after a year or two. So, is the town gonna wanna fund that kind of money every other year?
Yeah.
No way can I see us being able to do that, so that's why I think the harvester boat that pulls them out by the weeds, or, by the roots.
The only issue with that is disposing of
Yeah.
the stuff once we get it.
$56,000 this year for the herbicide. Nicole, she's right on top of us here.
Are we putting proper signage out for this herbicide?
We got pictures today.
I mean,
The DEC is all over this to make sure the signage goes out, the warning signs.
Yeah, we got fined last time
Yeah.
for not having proper signs.
DEC, and actually Amy, the head lady from the DEC that's the head of this whole process, is gonna be here on Tuesday and monitor the whole thing. So everybody's trying to make sure that we got everything, our I's dotted and T's crossed. So. Number 11, allow Nicole and I had a discussion with Jessie about, some simple things in that office that Jessie has said she's willing to show Nicole how to do, which were, we had a couple people come in for handicap stickers, different things like that, and we've talked a little bit about it. You'll have no problem showing her how to do that.
No.
On that topic, I brought it up at our last meeting. We didn't hire Nicole to do all these extra tasks, number one. Number two, in the budget, there is money for the person that would help our town clerk out. And, I don't, if it was a completely different person other than Nicole Millsap, we would be paying that person. Why shouldn't we be doing the same thing for her?
I think at this point, it's a little bit hard for us to know how much Nicole's gonna have to do this.
I understand.
I think we need to wait.
Okay, but I'm just throwing that out that we keep,
Yeah.
it's typical of what we do. We just add and we add and we add, and it's nice we got at least, somebody like Nicole that's willing to do this.
I mean, the other thing way that I look at it too is Nicole's here for 8 hours a day, or how many hours she works, and it's not like she's staying here longer or coming earlier to do these things. She's fitting them in with her day.
I understand. I just think it's worth mentioning.
Yep. Next item, our permit process for non-town residents to use the transfer site. We've taken in, definitely applications, we've taken in applications and payment here and issued them the card that they have to do that. and also Byron has taken in two of them up there. And what Byron's doing is they fill out the form with Byron, they pay him the money. Byron has a special envelope that he's putting that in, he submits it every day with when he drops his money off here. That's where we're at there. Purchase propane tanks. I don't know if we got the thing back from North Shore as far as how long. We were trying to find out, I think I included you guys in the emails, trying to find out how long these generators would run, how many gallons they use, to see if we needed 300, 500, or 1,000 gallon tanks. I don't have the answer to that, and unless Nicole texts me and tells me where we stand with that, what we've decided, or if North Shore was going to take our generators and tell us how long a 300 gallon tank would run a generator and how long a 500 gallon tank would run a generator.
How many hours do we feel we need it to be able to run?
Well,
The emergency management people in the county, is that something they say, look, for the town of Alexandria, you should plan on X without having,
we kinda looked into that, and we talked to Jamie, about what kind of regulations does the water department have, that when the power goes down, that how long you supposed to be able to run the water department through this means.
Mm-hmm.
And he was checking into it, and he didn't know of any regulation that he was, that would, tell him what he had to do as far as time-wise. So we don't have the answers to that, and we've kind of been looking for where we go to find that out.
thinking like, is it Joe Plummer with the,
Where emergency management?
Yeah.
Yeah.
might be a place to start.
And I did just get a text from Nicole, is that we didn't get the results back from North Shore as far as the generators are concerned. So I think it's, again, is something that we'll we'll try to get all the information before we make a decision.
These generators start every week, every 2 weeks, don't they? Anyways.
For a short period
And
of
I
time.
understand they burn quite a lot of fuel just doing that.
Yeah.
Take that into consideration.
Well, the thing that's brought this all up is that those generators fire up for 15 minutes or half an hour or whatever it is every week, so they burn a little fuel. Well, the tanks were provided by, I wanna say, is it MX?
MX Fuels.
Way back, and these are 1,000 gallon tanks, and they were provided by MX, and they come and fill that tank up when it's down 20 gallons, a 1,000 gallon tank, and they charged us $6 a gallon.
Yep.
Where our bid price for propane is what, around $1 a gallon? Suburban, excuse me. So, you know,
Good for her.
Sandy was looking at the bills here a month or two ago, and she saw the Suburban bill, she saw the price per gallon, and she knows exactly what she pays for propane over there, and she said, this is ridiculous, and it is. Like I said, I think one of the generators, they put 4 gallons in, one of them, they put 15 or 20, you know? So,
You can certainly understand why they do it with that low, I mean, for the guy to come here with a truck, unreal
Yeah, oh, yeah.
hose, do that, put it all together, generate a bill.
So didn't we agree to do this on an as-needed basis now?
Right. Well, that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta check it, but not every week, right?
yeah, which also, for the time being, because it's taken us a while to make this decision, we should have Nicole contact Suburban and tell them it's on an as-needed basis.
On call.
Yeah, we'll call.
Yep, we'll
Yeah.
call, yep.
So I'm sure we'll do that because, you know,
But I thought about these things, I don't think they have like a gauge on them to be able to see how far it's gone down. I can't say for sure, but I know I have propane, and I don't believe they
There might be a
have.
little dial on it, tells you where you're at.
Right,
I don't know.
'cause I have both, some that do, some that don't.
Right.
So, some of the companies have a thing that will transmit when it gets to a certain point and let the company know when they need to come fill.
Really?
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause I'm just thinking about like with the ice storm, 'cause the school was used as a, you know, kind of a central point. And you'd want enough power to be able to power that, because it might take a while before the truck could go over the road to get there to fill it.
Yeah.
But I'll bet Plummer would have a real good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Budget transfers. You got them, Ronnie, you wanna go through them?
Sure. Okay, first is General A, and it's garage equipment, $540, garage heating fuel, $540. So, this would be a transfer out of heating fuel and into equipment, because it was an unbudgeted, purchase for a camera. Where was the camera located in Town Barn? It says Town of Alexandria purchased a camera for Town Barn.
On a telephone pole, right next to Mike's camera.
Is that the one, that was months ago?
Yep.
Well, now that line item is short.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no,
That's
yeah.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there might have been, my guess is there might have been something else that was budgeted for, that has now put this over, because as you say, that was purchased a while
Yeah.
ago.
I know, I'm
But
just,
yeah. So it's coming out of heating fuel and going into equipment, so that'll be in, take it out of the red. Next is under General B, speed sign mounting expenses, and the money would be coming out of youth program CE and going into public health CE, and that's $1,100. So I'm guessing with the COVID, our youth program expenses are down,
They're zero
right?
right now.
So that gives us the ability to access that,
Yeah.
okay? The next is under Highway DA, it's a total of 71 cents. It's to adjust the cat loader principal per the Caterpillar Financial Services. It'll be coming out of machinery CE and going into cat loader principal, 71 cents. Next one is Carnegie Bay Water. It's to establish a new budget line under that water district. It'll be coming out of admin and going into transportation and distribution. That's a total of $95. The last one is Edgewood Water. Same thing, to establish a new budget line in the Edgewood Water District, coming out of admin, $99, and going into transportation and distribution, $99. I'd be happy to make a motion to approve those transfers.
Second to that motion? Second by Mike, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? None. Water committee update, we sent letters out with the water bills, asking for anybody that was interested to be in a committee, and I believe we've had one response so far. Is where we stand, and we'll wait so long, and then, I think we talked about just going to people and asking them. And we'll definitely go to people and ask them in the same manner that we wanted to field this committee anyways, which is people from each district. So we had every district represented equally. Next item, confirmation of resolution to bring highway workers back to work 1 week early, beginning Monday, July 20th.
Can we?
What's that?
Can we do 17 first? And that would help with the 16?
Sure.
So is Mike listening? Is he calling in, or what's the scoop?
I asked him about, being here, and he said he didn't wanna be here tonight, whether he's listening or calling in, I guess I can call him.
Yeah, if you could, put him on speakerphone.
Kind of something that I wanted to ask everybody in relation to this is, did everybody hear my phone call to him after our last meeting?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, leave a message.
I'll leave him a message, Hey, Mike, you there?
Yes, I am, sir.
Yeah, we wanted to, had some questions for you here as far as the meeting is concerned. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, a week ago tonight, we had a detailed discussion in regard to the sales tax numbers that came in. We had budgeted for a 25% reduction, and because of that, we had to do a modification of your workforce at the town highway barn in order to make up for the expected loss of revenue. A day before the meeting, so it probably would have been like on the 14th, because the meeting was on the 15th, we found out that the sales tax collection was going to be off 13% versus the budgeted 25%. And then after lengthy discussion, it was decided to be able to bring your workers back a week sooner than had originally been budgeted. And the reason was strictly because our income was not going to be taking the hit that we thought it was going to. As the meeting was over, some of us were still here in the building. Brent called you to tell you that, and he had it on speakerphone, and you actually told him to thank the board for the decision. And so I'm a little puzzled as to why the guys didn't come back to work on Monday. Today's Wednesday, the 22nd, and the intent was for them to come back to work on Monday, the 20th. And so after thanking us for making that decision, I'd really like to know why it didn't happen.
Ron, I was at a meeting with my accountant and my wife, and maybe I misunderstood, maybe I didn't hear correctly. I apologize for that. Even the guys were unsure when they watched the film, but Ron, the guys are back to work.
I can't hear.
We'll full steam ahead. Been down to sit with Brent, and we'll continue to do what we gotta do. I appreciate you guys letting them all come back.
So when did they come back?
They were back first thing this morning at 6 o'clock.
Okay, great.
So, if there was some miscommunication on my part, it wasn't done facetiously or done to hurt anybody or to not do it, they're back to work.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
So what are we gonna do about Monday and Tuesday?
They'll be on their unemployment, and that's all there's to it.
Okay.
So how many days they working this week?
Today and tomorrow, they're 2 10-hour days, and they'll be off by Monday.
Okay. I think we're all set. Anybody else got any questions?
Not right now.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Okay.
Mike, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. I think most towns, their highway superintendent comes to the monthly meetings. And I know Sandy has made the comment to you how it'd be much easier to have some of the discussions if you were actually here at the meeting. She's had you on speakerphone and made that comment to you. I think it was about a month ago, or maybe it was the meeting before that. And I was just wondering if you thought any more about attending the actual monthly meetings.
I will be there at the next regular monthly meeting, Ron.
Great.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah, I had that number 16 in there because I just wanted to know if everybody heard the conversation that I had with Mike and understood that conversation. Because on Monday morning when I talked to him, he didn't think I had said that, or that wasn't said. I've talked to most of you guys
What did he
individually.
thank you for?
I've talked to most of you guys individually, And I think you heard the conversation pretty clearly, right?
Right,
Yeah.
well, there was a motion, I mean, he said that some of the guys working had listened to the meeting.
Yeah.
And were a little unclear, and that's a little baffling in itself, because we actually made a motion and it was very specific. And then Mike thanked you, or told you to thank the
Yeah.
board for the decision. I mean, he says he didn't understand it, I guess we'll leave it at that, but it's still puzzling.
If Sandy's listening, I'd like her to give my phone a call, because Sandy went through the tape. Sandy was not at that meeting,
Right,
and Sandy went through the tape to listen to what went on.
right.
And she had called me and told me that what she had heard, and how she had heard it, so.
Right, so maybe it wasn't clear to her either. Her only interaction with that was by listening
Yes.
to the same thing the other people were
So
listening to.
she's got a completely different take on it.
Right, which would be interesting.
I just got a text from her, and then everybody got one from her as well. And I was asking about what's Monday and Tuesday, I'm
No, well, it shouldn't go there tonight.
okay, I'm just saying,
Yep. That's what it's in relation to?
yes,
Yeah.
I'm assuming so, is that true, Sandy?
Yeah, I'd just like to see, I'd like to have Sandy give my phone a call so we can ask her about what she heard on the tape, how it came out to her.
Right. It's not gonna change anything though.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And I think anyone who has a question is welcome to go on the town website. It's archived.
Yeah.
And they can play it for themselves and
Good
come to their
point.
own conclusions.
Yep, good point. The next thing I have is number 18. If everybody remembers, back when Jimmy Vancor was on the board, we made a decision to put a sign up on Route 12 by the transfer site, and I've had a lot of people say stuff to me this year in relation to the fact that when you drive by on Route 12 and that road goes off to the transfer site, you don't know where that road goes and you don't know what it is. You don't know the hours, you don't know what they take, you don't know anything. So I think I sent everybody a copy of what I wanted to put on the sign, and I think everybody was okay with it, which will tell us it'll be a 4x8. And it'll tell us, you know, that it's a transfer site, it'll tell you what we take there at the transfer site, it tells you what we don't take at the transfer site, and it tells you the days and the hours that we're open. There's Sandy.
Should have speak.
Hey Sandy, can you hear me?
State road, yeah.
Get this information.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So she's on speakerphone.
Got a lot of noise in the background.
Hold on, I'm gonna walk out so that you don't hear my computer.
Oh, it's on a lag.
She's listening to us.
Don't you, if you
You there?
have a speak to put a sign
Yeah,
on
I've
there?
gone outside so that you don't
As long
hear.
as it's outside the,
Turn the volume off.
that's a good point.
Okay, I just, you know, you had told me that you went to the website and you went to the YouTube and that you listened to the, audio, and you said it was very clear what the motion, I just wanted you to tell the board what your thoughts were on that.
No, it was, if you went back and rewatched the meeting, which I did after, you know, this confusion on Monday, it was extremely clear that the board voted to bring everyone back a week early. There is no way that anyone can say, if they watched it, that they were confused. It was very clear that because we didn't have the 25% as expected and we were in better shape, that we wanted to stop the furlough, you know, effective immediately, and Monday have the guys back to work early. So I don't understand where the confusion was, you know, maybe Mike wasn't in a meeting and that is all legitimate. I'm happy to see the guys are back, but as I just text everyone, I believe instead of being on unemployment for 2 more days, because they were, you know, whether it got miscommunicated or whatever, misinterpreted on Mike's part, they were supposed to be at work on Monday. So I don't believe they should get unemployment. I think they should take 2 vacation days. That's just my thought. I don't, you know, I know these guys have a lot of bank overtime and everything else. They shouldn't get unemployment, in my opinion, this week. They should take it out of their vacation time.
Okay.
I think Sandy brings up a good point, because, we passed a resolution saying you're supposed to come to work on the 20th. At some point in time, we're going, if something doesn't change, we're gonna get notification from the state of New York that, those people are gonna be claiming 2 days of unemployment. And if we don't say anything, we're agreeing with that. And if we don't agree with that, we should probably do something about it right now, due to the fact that by not doing anything, we're saying yes, because all four of us were, and you just heard, Sandy, who listened to it, okay? It was crystal clear that they were supposed to come back on the 20th. Mike has said some of his workers listened to it, which is good. So it was crystal clear to them also. And I just think the town, this has put the town in a potential liability position with the state of New York, as they were supposed to be to work on Monday, and the other thing they could do is they could work Friday and Saturday. When does our work week end? Does it end on a Friday or Saturday?
Ends on Friday.
I don't know.
Ends on Friday?
You can't do that.
What can't you do?
I think you can't make them work on Friday and Saturday.
Well, Saturday's another work week, so that's a moot point.
They could
Yeah,
work,
collective bargaining.
They-
I don't know, I don't see.
yes, they choose, so their normal work week ends
Work
Friday,
ends.
so they could choose to work on Friday.
They could choose, if they don't want to use 2 vacation days, they could work on Friday. That's not a board thing, that's something that the workers at the,
And
highway
they
department.
burn one vacation day instead of 2.
If they don't want to use 2 vacation days, then they should be at work
Okay,
on
not
Friday.
Saturday.
I
I
don't
don't
think we
see
should
that
make them work
Well, it's
Saturday.
another week, doesn't matter.
No,
They could be there on Friday with no problem.
and Saturday wouldn't mean anything anyways, because that's a new work week.
Right,
Correct.
Yep.
right, good point.
And we also can't make them do anything, they're gonna do what they want. Only thing that we're talking about doing is how we have to report it, as far as unemployment or as far as vacation, how we have to record that.
Correct.
Yep, okay.
So I guess that's a question.
Bob wants to say something.
Yeah.
Well, my concern is, who is it that directed them to come to work?
He did.
Okay, and you directed them when, yesterday?
No,
I'm
last
sorry.
Wednesday.
They've had 4 days and no.
On the 15th,
I'm asking, so you directed the workers themselves to come to work?
No, he directed the
Yes.
supervisor.
Yes,
He directed the highway superintendent
Right,
to contact the,
I understand.
Right.
That isn't my question though.
Right.
Who directed the workers to come to work? Who do they take their orders from? They take the orders from the
Highway
highway
superintendent.
superintendent. And he didn't order them back to work,
it's on the highway superintendent.
it's on the highway superintendent,
yes.
okay? Then, yesterday, we talked to Jim at the Teamsters, and he said, yeah, if you wanna call back to work, that's what they're there for, is to work.
Right.
Which was a refreshing comment, I
Yeah.
must say. And, I think then, well, I guess we had you directed back to work, didn't we? You're the supervisor, which,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so
the
that-
normal chain of command didn't work.
I'm not gonna get into, that's what you guys get into, I'll stay out of that.
No, I'm just saying, the reality is it didn't work. And so then, we did a different chain of command apparently, because the supervisor got involved.
I think the supervisor is always the de facto fallback for employees, okay?
Yep.
Cause he has all the other powers that others don't have.
Right.
So, but if the question is whether you're gonna report to the state of New York that they shouldn't get paid for 2 days, the question is, that their defense is gonna be, no one directed me back to work. Yeah, I listened to the town board meeting, but nobody directed me to return to work.
I agree completely. This sits squarely on the shoulders of the town highway superintendent.
Well,
Personal opinion.
I'll let you draw your conclusion.
Right.
All I'm saying is that if I were defending these guys and to the state, I'd say
Right.
they weren't directed to return to work. They,
Right, no, in fairness to them, I agree.
all right.
Yep,
okay.
yep.
Okay, Sandy, I guess we're done with that subject for now, okay?
All right, thanks.
Thank you, yep.
Yep, bye.
All right.
And then I had one other question, I'm sorry, with regard to that sign, and that is whether we need any kind of permit from the state of New York to put a 4 by 8 foot sign on their highway.
Yeah.
It's not, we're making sure it's off the state of the art.
No, Bob reminded me, my former life, it was, the Lady Bird Johnson, believe it or not, Highway Beautification Act of 1960-something or other, and which controls.
600
This is a scenic byway, so even if it's outside the highway boundary, the
Right,
DOT
interstates
does
and
have.
scenic byways or something like that, it applies to. I just wanna make sure,
Yeah, they do
it's
have.
better to ask permission than beg forgiveness.
Yep, I forgot about that, but that's legit.
Who do we ask permission to?
Talk to,
Used to be Stan Preston.
I talked to start with Matt Bush, but there's believe it or not, there's a sign engineer down at the regional office in
Yeah.
Watertown, I don't know who that is these
And they'll
days.
give you a little license plate to put on the
When
sign.
Lady Bird did that, wasn't there a difference between a sign that advertised a place and a sign that advertised a place that was on where the property was?
You got permission to put it, you still have to go through the
Yeah,
application
you still gotta
process.
do it.
Yeah,
This-
no, an
this-
on-premise sign is allowed, you
Yeah.
still gotta go through the, we'll get a yes.
Yeah, cause you're in a scenic byway.
Yeah.
And that's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that gonna be two-sided, so it's perpendicular,
No,
or it's gonna be parallel?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking if somebody, I guess it's a matter of, if somebody's trying to find the place,
Mhm.
it's easier to find a perpendicular sign than it is one that's parallel.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, if that's the
Well,
main intent.
Right, kind of drive in, kind of, like you say, you're like a customer, and where you would, don't put it where you don't, you think that's a great spot, it's not where you're gonna really see it for what you want it to say,
Yeah.
Because having what the hours are and what you take and what you don't take, to me, that's something to be looked at after you're off the road and you can actually stop.
Right.
Because something meant to be read on Route 12 means 55 miles an hour, and you're talking 3
You'll
seconds.
never read it.
Right,
Yeah, yes.
so I'm, just
That's
a
why I
thought.
say, you gotta kind of think about your customer, and what you want this.
Basically, what you wanna do is you're announcing what the place is.
Yeah.
It should be right in there, right beside the gate, right?
There is one already right there, it says what the hours are.
99% of people are coming from that direction to begin with.
But it sounds like the biggest problem is, people don't know where to turn, and they don't realize that's where it's located.
Yeah.
If somebody's new to the area, I
Well,
guess.
Nicole said she didn't know where it was,
Yeah,
drives by it every day.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So I would think, if we get a permit for a perpendicular, sign that's perpendicular, two-sided, and just has, Town of Alexandria transfer site,
Mhm.
in big letters,
Yeah.
and as close as they'll allow it to be.
Okay.
But there used to be a guy, he's probably retired by now, a long time ago. They were, like you say, there's a division in,
Well,
at
it's in
the
the-
state office building
It's in
in
the real,
Watertown.
yeah,
DOT.
believe it or not, it's in the real property section.
Yeah.
Is the guy that
Yeah.
does the signs, like Tom Fincher, I think it was a long time ago, I'm sure there's somebody different now.
Yeah.
Okay, request for highway superintendent to be present, he told us he'd be here, we're good with that one, the work session. I've had a bunch of people ask me and they want information as to what the exact plan is for if these positions pass to appointed. What the application process is, what the interview process is, what the pay is, what the term of their employment is, what their job description is. I think that we need to sit down and have a meeting, all of us, and
I think
or a work session.
Part of it, civil service will kind of address a lot of that, not all of it, but a lot of it.
But I mean, can we kinda, in general terms, talk about maybe holding it like in September? I'm thinking this would be a good thing for people to be able to, I mean, we're always gonna have this system, which is a great
Right, but we
addition.
gotta kinda organize our thoughts.
Right, I realize that, but at the same time, the longer it is from now, the better chance of having the public be able to be in attendance.
Yeah, yep. Yep.
And I
So, do you agree that we should organize our thoughts?
Yeah,
Yep.
Do you wanna do that, next Wednesday?
Okay.
at 5 o'clock, same time, or,
Yeah. Everybody okay with that?
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
July 29th.
Thank you.
And what we're gonna do,
And we gotta advertise that, correct?
Or we can adjourn this meeting
we're
to
gonna
it.
adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then anything else earth-shattering comes up, we can address it at the same
Yes,
time, right?
any and all business, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, okay, so it's not a work session then, it's a regular meeting.
Right.
It's a business meeting.
Yeah.
I'm volunteering you, would it be good to have Bob here to help us out on some of this stuff? Brent? There's, I'm pretty certain you have a lot more experience in this kind of stuff than we do.
Just hiring somebody for a job, you know, the responsibilities are set forth in, you know, there's a town clerk manual and there's a highway superintendent manual. And whether it's elected or appointed, those are the responsibilities of the position.
Okay. I mean, like I kind of touched on civil service, would this be covered by civil service?
We probably have to create a civil service position for each within the town.
Okay.
I don't know whether the county already has job descriptions or specifications for those positions as being appointed. I don't know.
Good. Now, there's 92 other towns in New York State that have done this, so it seemed to me that they got something.
But I can go through the county civil service job descriptions book and see whether there are any. I don't have that with me here tonight. Your question is whether they have to be appointed to a civil service position, yes. But I don't want to misspeak and say they're exempt, but they're not a tested position and they're not laborers, so they fall in the non-competitive class, I would guess. Whether they're also exempt, I'm not sure. They might be exempt.
I'm just wondering if 1 week, there's some research needs to be done.
Oh, big time.
Right.
This
And I'm
is
just
not a
wondering
little thing.
I know, but I'm just wondering if a week is a little, I mean, a week would get it started.
Well, I think that's important.
It's not gonna begin and end in a week.
I think it's important to start,
Yes.
you know, we need to start somewhere.
Right.
You know?
So you think 29th at 5 o'clock, did I hear you say that?
I'm just saying, do you think it would be good for Bob to be here?
Yeah.
You know, I'm volunteering your time, I'm just,
I don't know.
No, you're
why
gonna
I
pay for
can't.
his time, Mike.
What's that?
You're gonna pay for his time, you're not volunteering his time.
Yes, you are.
Chris McCormick, highway barn worker, texted me, hey Brent, I was watching the meeting last weekend, when you talked about bringing us back, you said Monday the 27th, not Monday the 21st. After that meeting, I understood it that we were coming back as scheduled. No disrespect to Ted, but I think you guys should re-watch last week's meeting. And then his next text.
I'd be happy to, as long as he rewatches it also.
Yeah.
there's no way it was the 27th.
Well, I understand,
No way.
he's fairly certain, okay?
Well, why
And
would
I'd be,
you-
hold on, I'd be happy to rewatch it, I would just ask him to do the same thing.
Okay, I just need to, I need to say this about that.
Let me finish Ruddy Road, okay?
Okay.
And then he sent me, after he said, no disrespect intended, but I think you guys should re-watch last week's meeting. Then he says, sorry, 20th, not 21st. I don't understand what he means by that, because the 20th is Monday and the 21st is Tuesday. Yet earlier he talks about the 27th. Oh, not Monday the 21st, okay, so he meant Monday the 20th, is what he meant, okay. So, he's still saying that we said the 27th and not the
Okay,
20th.
that's when they were scheduled
Right.
to come back anyway, so why would we have a resolution
Right.
to say that?
Right.
We could-
Well,
right.
I'm not saying we didn't mention the 27th though.
I'm sure we
because
did.
I'm sure it was
I think we did, because that was what it was scheduled.
Right.
And that was what,
Yep.
yeah. And he says, I was surprised Mike called us last night, and he even argued with him about it, so. It just backing up the fact that it was confusing.
Now, who is this from?
Chris McCormick.
Chris McCormick was the employee there.
Okay, I'm just curious, that's all.
Yep. Well, and it's not so much, I mean, Sandy watched the thing,
Right.
and she wasn't here.
I think it'd be a good thing if we all just, I mean, the good thing is you can fast forward on that thing.
Yeah, sure.
And I think it was towards the end, wasn't it?
Is that the very, yeah. Oh, the resolution?
Yeah.
Somewhat, yeah.
Well, I mean, it would help people to be
Yeah.
able to, you know,
Well, Sandy's probably checking it out as we speak.
I mean, here's another thing. This would all be mute if if they do vacation days and then get paid
right,
starting Wednesday.
what Bob said is right, it's not the worker's fault. Because
Yeah.
you told the highway superintendent, he thanked you, and then he fell down and didn't pass it on to the workers. It's not the workers' fault.
Yeah.
And for them to have to burn a couple of vacation days certainly doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
But, okay, so then what's the status of Monday and Tuesday then?
They were unemployed.
No, they won't, we have a resolution to say otherwise.
They didn't know that.
I know, but-
That's the key to the whole thing. They didn't know
I'll
that.
call you back later.
I just have a problem with that.
Yeah, well, talk to your highway superintendent.
I know, it's just crazy. It's just-
Right,
it's-
I think we're gonna beat a dead horse with
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so we're gonna adjourn this meeting and meet on next Wednesday,
5 PM,
which is what date? The
29th.
29th?
29th.
Yep, at 5 PM.
we-
For any and all business, what?
Okay, Mr. Catlin,
Yep,
not, for now,
right.
okay.
What about cleaning up that trailer? Where are we on that?
No idea, that's an Oris deal.
Okay.
Or Bob, I'm not sure where we are on.
I don't know,
I think you said after the last steps we took that we were clear to go in there and clean it up, or get prices to clean it up.
Right, I think I told you that Norris should call around and get the cheapest price you can,
Yeah.
and just
All
go
right,
ahead and
we'll
do
see.
it.
Yeah, yeah, you need to definitely take that up with Norris,
No, well,
okay? And the late fees in relation to Mr. Catlin, we're gonna deal with that next Wednesday,
Okay.
okay? Wasn't there something you wanted to add, Mike?
I had, an individual approach me a couple different times today, in regards to, the foil. We've been getting bombarded with foil, and he was mostly relating it to, water districts. Where's the cost of all this, responding to all these foils eventually gonna end up, it would seem to me if it's something to for any particular water district, that's where the time would get charged to. But that's what he's kinda going off. But which brings it on the greater question, and I had the town, well, the village, to look at some water information, how they came up with the rates that they have. So I went down to the village offices last week, and they had a whole bunch of stuff. And so kind of going through it, and I asked them if I could get some copies of these. And they said, sure, 25 cents a page.
That's pretty reasonable.
Okay?
Pretty-
So I'm just, now, I've been told, because I asked, we've been, a fair percentage of what was responding for, foils, we've been giving paper copies. Quite a bit more we've been doing electronically. However, we've been printing out everything that we send out. So, it would seem to me the same thing is happening.
Printing it out and giving it to them, or keeping it for our own records, keeping it for our own
Yeah, I'm
records.
keeping it for my own
Well,
record.
then, we don't charge them for it.
Okay, because we have reams of paper. I mean, just a fantastic amount.
Foil actually provides for the electronic provision of documents, and then when you do that, you don't charge it.
Okay, because I just got asked that, so that's why I'm just asking it on.
Right.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else?
Oh, there was something at Swan Bay, that looks like they're gonna work that out among themselves.
I think they are, yeah. I mean, it's all coming down to a meeting this weekend that they're having. I think I sent you guys copies of letters from both parties. And I actually called Kelly Butcher today because she's the one who set up the meeting, and I thanked her for doing it. She's getting the parties together, the people from Sargent's, the people from
Barton and Healy.
Vernon Healy, and the people from Swan Bay Resort.
Okay.
And Marina.
That'd be great if they work it out themselves.
Sure would. And not only that, but the town has no laws to do anything.
Right.
Again, it's that's the same situation we've dealt with, it's a noise complaint, and state police have been called, and they've been there, and there's nothing they can do, and they say, talk to the town, and the town doesn't have a noise ordinance, and
So if you had, the first thing you'd have to do is enact a noise ordinance, buy a piece of machinery to be able to measure, right?
Right.
And then, after you do that, who's the enforcing body to,
Well,
same deal.
it's the same deal. I mean, what happens is the police officers sometimes have them, they have the noise, the decibel meters. But by the time they get there, the noise is gone, lots of times. The only civil remedy for noise is an action in nuisance, you know, an unreasonable interference with the use and enjoyment of your property, that's the definition of nuisance. But then you've got to prove it in court. You don't have to prove it by a decibel meter if you're in a civil matter, you just have to say, look, and everybody else is bringing 10 witnesses to say, I can even think, or whatever.
but that would be between the parties involved, not the town though, right?
That's right, that's right. So unless you have a noise ordinance and you have a way to enforce it, you're going nowhere.
Okay.
And believe me, we dealt with this in the city for a
Yeah.
couple of years. And, you know, you go back and forth, and they finally adopted what in my view was an illegal noise ordinance over my objection. And of course, it's never been enforced, so there you go.
Didn't we have this problem a year ago?
Illegal?
Yeah, we did.
What happened there?
And we took care of it.
Oh, no.
They did.
I talked to the parties and asked them to turn it down and not do it over certain hours.
Supposed to do that.
And it'll work again, huh?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But
I
just
just
to
wanna
give
be
you,
clear, I just wanna be clear what the town's obligations were in regard to that.
just to be clear, back again, when I was on the village of Alexandria Bay has a noise ordinance. And the village of Alexandria Bay owns a decibel meter.
Yeah.
And have a police department.
And they had a police department, and they used the decibel meter, and they wrote tickets, and the tickets went to court, and it was found that the decibel meter, like any meter you use to judge something, has to be calibrated every so often. And the village of Alex Bay didn't ever calibrate the decibel meter.
And it's gotta be the ambient level of noise, how far away when you record it.
And it was how many feet from the door,
Whoever's using it has to be
how many
properly
feet from the
trained.
door of the
They
establishment.
have to be trained in the use of it, the whole bit.
Yep.
You talk to any state trooper, they say they each have one in the trunk of their car, they never use it.
So, we don't wanna go there.
Just hope they resolve it themselves.
Yes, they need to sit down and
So,
talk about
Need
it.
a motion to adjourn to the 29th,
Specific date and time,
29th at 5 P.M.
29th at 5 P.M.
Yep.
Okay, motion by Ron to adjourn this meeting for any and all town business to the 29th, at 5 P.M.
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by John, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. So if we go on our agenda.
Okay, you wanna turn that off in front of you, please?
Yeah. We should be able to go on our agenda, if we go on last week's agenda, I will, we go on last week's agenda, depending on where,
Sandy just said it's in the beginning of the agenda. Chris McCormick just texted me again and said the date is not set.
okay. So but I'm just saying, so we can all listen to it and encourage other people to listen to it. It would help people if they knew if it was towards the beginning or the end.
Sandy says it's towards the beginning.
Towards the beginning, okay. I'm just watching.
She said, she's like, no, it was right at the beginning, first thing you guys discussed.
Perfect.